everyone. So today I'm going to tell you what you'll need to make this banner with song lyrics from your favorite band. I chose Tokyo Police Club. You'll need some sort of linen or canvas. You'll also need some sort of wooden dowel to hold up the banner. You'll want some string to hold up the banner. You'll want a stencil. I printed mine from the computer. Some cheap clear nail polish, the fabric for the text you're going to create, and then finally you will want a hot glue gun. So let's get started. First things first, you're going to iron out all of the nasty wrinkles that are in your linen because it'll make it really tricky to work with if you don't do this. You're going to want to do the same thing for your letter fabric, especially because you're going to be tracing a lot on it, and having wrinkles would really mess things up. So let's go ahead and lay out that fabric and place our stencil on. I used a couple pins to keep things in place, as you can see here, because it'll make things easier when we take our piece of fabric chalk to mark the letters. This is what I decided to do to cut it out, and a little bit later you will see that. Then remove your pins and you will see obviously the outline here, and you're going to start cutting out your letters. Use fabric shears because this will make things about 20 times easier than using normal scissors. If you've ever worked with fabric before, you should know this. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting out my letters. I came to find out that it's a lot easier if you do not do this individual business that you can see me doing here right now. And if instead you cut out a chunk or cut out a letter and start working on it that way, as you can see here, and as you will see for the rest of the letters that I cut out. Is this how it ends? After that, you will get all of your letters in place. Not really, I just decided to. And you're going to take your cheap clear nail polish, and the reason you want it to be cheap is because you're going to just be running it along the edge here. Obviously, if you already have a clear coat that you're fine with using, do that. This is kind of a messy, smelly process, but it's way easier than actually like hemming the letters or doing something like that, because it'll just keep the fabric from fraying and it'll keep things looking nice in the end. So once you're done with that, let them dry for a little teeny tiny bit. It doesn't take that long. And then you're going to take your linen main fabric and start laying it out, figuring out the size of your banner. I am measuring from the edge here, keeping in mind that you are going to have a front and a back to this, and that means you're going to be sewing them together, so you're going to have to allow for your seam. So I kind of eyeballed it and then went ahead and started cutting. If you want to measure, you can. Just be careful and know what you're doing, and be sure to allow for room at the top for folding over as well. Then you're going to fold your flag or banner, whatever, in half and start figuring out where you want the point to be. I kind of left some room for failure to start. As you can see, I didn't have it quite deep enough, but you would rather have that than have it be too deep, so go back and add more depth if you need to. Don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, now I'm taking an eyeliner and marking where I want my letters to go, just because this is way easier than having to keep coming back to this stupid stencil. So yep, you could use some sort of fabric marker, but I just used a eyeliner because I'm cheap. And after that, I am placing my letters down, and I am going to pin them into place because we are going to be sewing. If you don't want to sew your letters on, you don't have to. You could easily use some sort of fabric glue, but I just prefer the look of having them sewn. So that's what I'm going to do. Be sure you don't forget to backstitch. Be sure to keep the needle down when you pivot. All of those little sewing things. If you've never sewn before, I don't know if this is the first project you want to start with, because it's kind of a tedious process. So I would say have at least some experience sewing if you're going to sew it. Otherwise, fabric glue is the way to go. I'm losing a friend. Is this how it ends? Once you're all done, it should look something like this. Then you're going to take your back piece and with right sides together, line them up at the points I use pins to do this. And you're going to want to go ahead and sew about 1/4 on each side except for the top, because you're going to flip it inside out and you wouldn't want to sew that shut. Then be sure to put some little snips at the corners just so it's easy to poke those corners really nice and sharp when it is right side out, like I am doing now. You may need to take some sort of sharp device. I'm using my shears here to poke out the corners to get things looking nice. To get things look even nicer, you're going to iron things in place, and be sure you're pulling it really taut when you do this, just so you're not losing any of the size of your flag or banner, whatever you want to call it. I keep changing what I call it. Then you're going to go back and top stitch it along the edge. I'm using a 1/4 allowance again, and this will just keep things in place and get it looking really nice. Then to close off this side here, I decided just to put it on a zigzag stitch and overlock it. If you want, you could hem it, but this is way easier because it's just going to be at the back of it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Then go ahead and take your wooden dowel and see how much space you need to fold over. I'm marking at the middle and at the corners, and I'm going to sew as straight as I possibly can to close that up. Then with your wooden dowel again, place that right through, and I'm using like a branch cutter. I'm sure Michael sells a tool made for cutting these actual wooden dowels, but this worked for me. If you could find something around your house that's not too dangerous, just use that. And then taking my string, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball how much string I will need to finish this baby off. So yeah, I'm just gonna take my hot glue gun and wrap it around at the edges. If you want, you could just tie them, but I thought this looked really clean and nice, so I decided to do it this way. So yes, that is what I'm doing. I wrap it several times, as you can see here, and then allow some hanging real estate there, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Once you're done, you're just going to snip that remaining bit off and you are finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. I think it would look really cute in a dorm room. Let me know if you do it and post it on Instagram. Bye.